Hello everyone. I am going to be explaining my main insights from the graphs I created on this wonderful website, going in depth to the portion that I did on alcohol within the county of Montgomery. Now if we scroll down on this wonderfully beautiful web page, we can see with the very first graph, if we zoom out a little bit, that we graphed fulfillment quantity against fulfillment dates, and we can see some really interesting clusters start to appear, especially when it comes to wine, all being piled up but on a very specific date. And we can see these clusters reflected again, as you can see how they're somewhat reflected over here with beer and follow a little bit of a consistent pattern. Now what's really interesting is that these few clusters that we see within months, as this is only 1 month of data, it seems to me that as the month goes on, the more and more the days to fill seem to greatly expand, meaning that there is a monthly schedule going to how suppliers usually sell to their vendors. As we move on to the second graph, we can see that a lot of the products purchased in that county are actually wine, which makes sense to a lot of the backlog. And as we saw a little bit before, how a lot of it was also beer. So it makes sense that these two products would be the most backlogged. But as the main insight kind of entails, is that this particular county, Montgomery, is actually one of the wealthiest in the country. And with that in mind, there is a high level of different variability within these different graphs. And we can see that with the individual products mapped to this specific graph, the fulfilled quantity and the item code listed here at the x-axis to try and capture the whole scope. Now what we can see is that if we zoom in, there's actually far more variety than originally anticipated, and we can see that constantly diverging as we go deeper and deeper, with each individual product coming very, very closely together with all different types of products. Now what that means is that it is very highly, for lack of a better term, it is a very extensive data set, and it is one that contains a lot of variability, especially with how even some of these originally appear to be, and you can see its complexity grow when you move in. Now, if we look at wine, we can see that it's very interesting that everyone specifically prefers Cooper Hawk's below the belt. And if we zoom in a little bit further, and due to the fact that wine is the most popular choice in Montgomery County, Cooper's Hawk also seems to have the second place product, as well as one of the third place products on this area, if I could just find it at first. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it in there. Also the other Hawk, right? Yep, there they are. But you can see just how much dominance they maintain over the market. So with that in mind, it's very clear to see the sheer amount of variety that is present within these graphs. And that with that kind of constant variety, it would be much easier for a company like Cooper Hawk, especially within the wine industry, to have sort of control over a market, because if they already established those sort of trusted relationships with certain vendors that want to buy from certain suppliers, then that means that they are more likely to be able to sell some of their other products.